Hello, this is Dana Kim from We Learn to Share, and I am here to share my knowledge on SAT writing. I have changed my subject from French to SAT writing, and I hope can provide you guys with helpful information about SAT writing and teach you guys grammar concepts and how to prepare for the question types in the new digital SAT. For today, we won't be learning any grammar concepts. Rather than that, we would be doing an orientation on the digital SAT writing section format and the types of grammar concepts that are dealt with in the digital SAT. So first, I will go over the digital SAT writing section format. Second, I will introduce you guys to the grammar concepts that are dealt with on the digital SAT. And third, I will go over our course syllabus. And lastly, I would like to tell you guys about the mindset about approaching the writing section of the SAT. Then let's move on to the format. The digital SAT writing section format is simple. So first, because there is one module, and in the module there are both the reading and the writing questions. There are 27 questions, and you guys are given 32 minutes to solve the 27 questions. The maximum time for one question would be 1 minute and 11 seconds. And for the writing section, you guys would typically have 13 to 14 questions, and the recommended time for one writing question personally is 45 seconds to 50 seconds because I have experienced that it is more original for students to take up a long time in solving the reading section rather than the writing section. And the writing section is pretty easy if you guys can focus and annotate the questions in your head properly and know all the grammar concepts. So I believe that if you guys are trained enough and have learned all the grammar concepts, it won't take you more than like 50 to 55 seconds to solve one writing question on the writing section. So the reading questions are on the first part of the module, and then the last part of the module is dedicated to the writing section. The writing section is constituted with these three parts. The first part, grammar, it has about 7 to 8 questions, and the time managed rigor is pretty high. So this means that it would take comparatively more time to solve these questions than the bullet point questions in the last row. Second, there are transition questions. There are typically 3 of these questions. And because you have to read thoroughly the content and try to recognize the attitude of the flow of the sentences on the passage, it would take a little bit more time than the bullet point questions. And lastly, the bullet point questions. These questions are very long and they seem very hard if you don't know how to solve them. But if you guys are trained, it wouldn't take a lot of time to solve this question, and there are typically like 2 to 3 questions. And the time managed rigor is very low, so I wouldn't really be concerned about the bullet point questions, but I would rather be concerned about the grammar and the transition questions on the writing section. Now that we have went over the format, let's look into the grammar concepts that are actually dealt with on the SAT. So this is the frequency rank and the grammar concepts. So the concepts on the bottom, they aren't really dealt with much, but it is certainly helpful to know them because they always come up once in a while, so better be prepared for that. The most common grammar concept that shows up on the writing section is punctuations, and I mean by commas and semicolons and colons and stuff. These concepts are the most common ones on the digital SAT writing section. The second one, subject-verb agreement. Third, modifiers. You guys have heard of dangling modifiers, like these kind of modifiers. Fourth, verb tense. Past, present, and future, those tenses. And pronouns. And then possessives, like there and they are, those stuff. Next, parallelism, and here it also says like comparison expressions on the bottom row of the table, but these parallelism expressions and comparison expressions are kind of interchangeably shown up in the SAT, so it is helpful to know the comparison expressions too, even though they are less common than the parallelism expressions. And then there are fragments, sentences that do not have a subject or a verb. And the bottom row, it says noun singular plural agreement and comparison expressions like I explained before, and subjunctive mood. So these are pretty much the grammar concepts that are dealt with on the SAT. And then we will go over our course syllabus. So this is the syllabus that I have prepared. So we are going over the orientation today, and starting 2 weeks from now, we will go over the first lesson, fragments, and then modifiers, punctuation, subject-verb agreement, pronouns, possessives, verb tense, noun singular plural agreement, parallelism, comparison expressions, subjunctive mood, transitions, and then bullet point questions. The transitions and bullet point questions videos would be slightly long, especially the transitions video, because we are not going over all of the transitions. I would rather give you guys a list, or just give you guys the most common transitions that are used, or like the bullet point questions. I would let you guys know what kind of questions there are and how these questions are actually structuralized. So I would be spending most of my time on this course on the grammar concepts, because they are the most important part of this lesson, and then I would post a slightly longer video on transitions and bullet point questions. Lastly, the mindset you guys should have before approaching the writing section of the digital SAT. These 3 advices sort of can help you guys really get into the mood to take the digital SAT writing section. So first, read the question. The writing section isn't very hard, I personally think, compared to the SAT format before the digital SAT, because it is not like in a long passage, so you don't have to read the entire passage to know what the pronoun is or stuff. And also, the grammar concepts are pretty straightforward, so if you guys just read the question carefully, it would not be very hard to solve the grammar questions. And for the transition questions, especially because transitions are about identifying the flow of the sentences and the mood of the sentence and the connotation that the author is having while presenting this passage to you, it is important that you guys recognize the shifts in the tone. And in order to recognize those, you guys have to just keep steady and read the question carefully, rather than just skim through it and try to get to the answer choices quickly. And second, I want you guys to annotate in your head, because the writing section requires identifying the grammar concepts. You guys should know where the subject is, where the verb is, what kind of tense the verb is the subject singular or plural, those stuff. So in order to get that straight in your head, you guys should focus and annotate the writing passage in your head. And third, this is the most important thing, don't panic. For me, I spent a lot of time on the reading section of the module, and then I have not a lot of time left on the writing section. But if you guys get the hang of it, you can most certainly solve all the writing questions in the limited time you have. If you guys just read the question carefully, the first one, and second, annotate the grammar concepts and the passage in your head, and not panic whatsoever, you guys can certainly get every question on the writing section right. So please don't panic at all costs. And I want you guys to remember all of these 3 advices that I'm giving you guys now. And then you guys would be ready to approach the writing section of the digital SAT and get a magnificent score on it. Thank you for listening to the orientation today. And starting from 2 weeks from now, we would be going over the grammar concepts one by one. So I want you guys to listen to the video and look at the visual aid that I provide you guys carefully, and review the lessons thoroughly from now on. Thank you.